Hey guys, and welcome to the latest video. My name's Aaron. If you haven't already, check out my channel. There's a heap of stuff on there about the beginner investor, how you can actually get started in the markets and help to build up your own investment portfolio to hopefully set yourself up for the future. Now, today's video, what we're going to be doing is just recapping the first quarter of 2021 in all the financial markets. Some of this stuff really lights me on fire when I hear about the economy, what's happening all over the globe. So we're going to take a little bit of a global perspective first in the US, all over the world, and then we're going to narrow it down right down to Australia, what's happening on our home shores. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Let's get stuck in. So first of all, we're taking a little bit of a look at the US markets to start off with. So over the course of the last quarter, the S&P 500, which is the main index in the US, increased by 6.2% in the first quarter. It also reached a new all-time high on March 26th, closing at 3,975 points. Declined by about sort of 34% during the pandemic sell-off last year, which was around that sort of March 2020 mark. And so from that point, March 2020 to the closing time on March 26th, it's up around 80%. So if you've invested over the last year, you're going to be really happy at the returns you've had so far in the long run. Now, when we're looking at interest rates in the US, long-term interest rates have increased due to the combination of both fiscal stimulus and the vaccine rollout, which will hopefully lead to higher levels of economic growth and expansion over the next few months and hopefully into the second quarter of 2021. The 10-year Treasury yield sits at around about 1.75 or 74%, rising from an all-time low of 0.51% in August of 2020. So you can buy 10-year Treasury yield bonds, and they're actually rising over time, which is somewhere near the inflation rate as we go forward. So Treasury yields are the total amount of money you can earn by owning a US Treasury bill, a note, a bond, or an inflation protected security, to give you a little bit of background. The fiscal stimulus that we talked about is the Congress passed the American Rescue Plan, worth around about $1.9 trillion in March. And this is actually the third major stimulus package passed down. There was the $2 trillion CARE package in March 2020, and then also the $900 billion COVID-19 aid bill in December of 2020. In the US equity markets, as we said in the first half, 6.2% up in the first quarter. So a really solid long-term viewpoint to investing as a strategy. Those of you who have been a bit sort of on the edge of whether you're wanting to get invested or not, or you have extra money lying around that you want to make work for you, there's a really solid long-term look on the market. So all 11 sectors were actually positive. Energy was up 30.8%. Financials were up 15.9% in the first quarter. And all the leaders, technology up 2%, consumer staples up 1.2%, on the lower end. So everything was moving in a positive direction just due to the economic growth and the really big push that the stimulus package has had on the markets. Will this last forever? Who knows? But for now, we're heading in the right direction towards getting back to some form of normality. So that market rally was heavily driven by the vaccine rollout, the monetary policy that was adapted as we went along, and also the fiscal stimulus and the economy reopening. Let's take it to Australia and New Zealand. GDP growth is likely to be lower than the other developed nations, just due to the fact that Australia and New Zealand didn't get hit too hard with the COVID-19 infection rates, and we sort of managed it on a better side. So the comeback or the recovery for us isn't going to be quite as drastic as maybe the US. The ASX had a really strong December quarter, rallying around about 15%, with November returning the best it ever has since March 1998. This was the result for Australia's own stimulatory federal budgets, including interest rates cut to an absolute lowest they've been in history, the vaccine advances from the Australian outlook, and also the positive outlook from the presidential election with Biden getting the vote in. The immediate COVID-19 funding, such as the JobKeeper payments, combined with the October budget measures, lifting the total stimulus to around about $350 billion, or approximately 18% of GDP, one of the largest by any country inside of Australia. The RBA has come out again and eased monetary policy by making sure interest rates are super low, allowing for lending to continue on throughout the nation. The RBA's governor came out and said in his latest testimonial that there is a big belief that the economic recovery is underway, and it will be aided by a lower than estimated peak unemployment rate of 7 to 8% when originally estimated around about 10%. So Australia's REITs, which are real estate investment trusts, rebounded really strongly over the property sector, Over the December quarter, we were up 13.3%, which was largely attributed to the recovery of retail assets. The spot gold price, which had a really tough time post-COVID, tumbled around about 6.3% to $1,762 an ounce during the month of November 2020 on the back of a really strong rally in those assets due to the vaccine-induced euphoria. So a lot of gold prices rose heavily in the pandemic because a lot of people moved to gold as a safe haven. But now, even with things such as the gold ETFs taking a hit, a lot of that was due to the fact that there began to be a new interest in cryptocurrency as a way to store asset value. So heavily people moved from gold to cryptocurrency because one, such big gains in the past for cryptocurrency and huge amount of return available, but also apparently it being a hedge against inflation as well as. So gold has recovered since then, and we're up to around about sort of $1,887 an ounce, up 7.1% from November, and hopefully this will send a short-term rise over the next year to 2021. So that is it for today. A short recap of where we're sitting now in the first quarter down of 2021. What's the outlook for the rest of Australia and the rest of the world with this vaccine rollout? And where are we going to be at the end of quarter two towards 2021? So thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this business wrap up of the March quarter, and I'll see you in the next video.